Hi students, so today you have to tell me what could be today's topic for the lecture. Please think what could be the topic for today's lecture. I need you to think what could be the today's topic that we are going to discuss. Are you still thinking about it? Yes, no. I think and I'm sure that you're still thinking about it. And in case if you have got the answer and if that answer is right, that means your cognitive process or you have paid enough attention to the chapter 4. Okay, so let's see what could be today's topic. So before thinking or before revealing what is today's topic, I'm sure that you are trying to ask yourself that what could be the possible solution to my question. Okay, so now today's topic is thinking and problem solving. So that is why I was saying more that what could be today's topic and you were still thinking over it. So thinking and problem solving we are going to discuss today. Problem basically causes make us to ask lots of questions to find the solution to it. Okay, so if there is any problem we find the solution only after asking about it. So where, why, who, what, how, which, when, whom, we keep on asking the questions in our mind. So that process is known as thinking process. Thinking process always gives us the solution to any problem, and that is why thinking and problem solving are interconnected to each other and it is related to each other. Okay, so we will move ahead with activity 6 to understand what actually thinking is. Read the imaginary situation given below and try to understand the meaning of thinking process. Imagine that your friend asks you to help him to solve a mathematical problem. You are not able to answer him immediately. After waiting for a few moments, he urges you to answer quickly. You might respond, "Wait, I am thinking on it." What exactly are you doing when you're thinking? While you're thinking, you might be recognizing that there is some mathematical problem, retrieving various formulae taught to you, finding out why a particular formula may or may not work. Okay, so what you are doing over here, in case if your friend asks you, "Please help me to solve this mathematical problem." So, at that moment, your thinking process takes place. You are going to remember what kind of formula, what kind of method the teacher taught you in the class. So, what you will tell to him is that, "Wait, I'm thinking," right? And that is how our thinking process actually works. So, you got some idea what the thinking process is. Same way, in the beginning of the lecture, I explained you or I asked you what could be the today's topic and you started thinking about it. Okay, you started relating it to the last topic that I taught you, right? So that is how the thinking process actually occurs. We will move to the definition and the core elements of thinking. Thinking is a mental activity that uses various cognitive elements and processes that involves manipulation of information, problem solving, reasoning as well as decision making. So thinking is always a mental activity. You can't tell the person what exactly you are thinking or it can't be displayed to others as a presentation. It always happens inside your mind, right? So that is why thinking is what it is, a mental activity which uses a cognitive element. Now I have always explained you what the cognitive is. Cognitive is all the mental higher mental processes that we do, like manipulation of information, that is using the information or manipulating it, or then problem solving, like we solve the problems, we try to find out the possible solutions to it. Reasoning, if there's a problem, we found out the solution, so what could be the reason we found the solution about it. As well as decision making, so any problem is there, you try to find out the solution and you come to a concluding point or decision making. So all these are the higher mental processes that are being used in thinking. So thinking is a mental activity that uses all these cognitive elements and the processes that involves manipulation of information, problem solving, reasoning, as well as decision making. So, this was the definition of thinking. If you analyze all the mental activities involved in thinking, you will find that thinking seems to be a private and internal to ourselves. So, in case if you think that how actually thinking works, then you will understand it that it is actually a internal process, it is a private process. Although with the help of language you can explain the other person what exactly you are thinking, okay, but still when this process is going on, it happens actually in your mind. Okay, so that is why thinking is a private or an internal process which is limited to our own self. While thinking, we create a world within us and we run through the various actions symbolically rather than in reality. So, whatever we are thinking, it goes in our mind symbolically. Okay, it does not happen reality in the real life situation. Okay, so this is what the thinking actually is. We are also going to see some core elements of thinking today. Now close your eyes and imagine a peacock in your mind. Can you imagine a peacock in your mind? Okay. Now tell me, how does that peacock looks alike? How is peacock? How it looks? So it has a colorful feather, right? And it is the most beautiful bird. So, whenever I ask you to imagine any word in front of you, you can imagine it quickly, right? If I say, imagine how a bag looks like, BAG, a backpack looks like. So, you can easily imagine how a backpack looks like, right? So, this everything is a mental representation or an internal representation. If we are talking about peacock, it would be an internal representation of a peacock. If we are talking about a backpack, it would be an internal representation of a backpack. If I say, imagine a car, or if I specifically mention, imagine a Mercedes or imagine a Audi car, so you can easily imagine those cars related to their brand, right? So that is a mental representation you are doing since you had a past experience about it, or you have seen it, you have heard it somewhere. Okay, so this is the one of the core element of thinking, that is mental representation. Mental representation is a mental imagery of a thing that is currently physically not available to the senses. Okay, so since I said over here, imagine a peacock. Now, peacock was not exactly in front of you. Okay, unless and until you are not sitting in the jungle and listening to my lecture, but you imagine the peacock in your mind, right? So those things are not present in front of you and still you can imagine those things in your mind, is mental representation. Now don't mix mental representation with illusions. Illusions are different and mental representations are different. Illusions is what we call as a brahm in Hindi. So things are not there and still you feel like those things are surrounding you. So those things are illusions and delusions. Delusions, delusion, delusions, and illusions, illusion, illusions. So these things are different, whereas a mental representation is different. Mental representations are the mental imagery of the things that are not currently physically available to our senses. Okay. So, internal representations are acquired through the direct experiences through sense organs or through indirect experience such as narrations, pictures, videos, etc. Internal representations forms the basic for all the cognitive processes, right? So if you have a either direct or either you have a indirect experience, you can easily experience or you can easily have a mental representation of anything, right? So next we move on to the other activity. Which animals are these? Are all these animals a same animal? Yes. What animal, what makes a difference between these? Okay, so we'll start with the first one. Which is the first animal, everyone? A horse or a donkey? Yeah, it's a horse. Are you sure? Okay, it is a horse. Next is what? Is it a buffalo? It is a bison? It is yak? It is yak? Okay, it is a yak. Next, a tiger, cat, tiger. Next, is it you, me, or a monkey? Yes, it is a monkey. Next, it's a lion. And next is polar bear. No, it is not a polar bear. It is what then? Is it cheetah or is it puma or is it panther? It is a cheetah, right? So now what happened over here? We are going to discuss. That is a concept that you have made. So to understand it in the detail, we will read. Concept is an internal representation which brain uses to denote a certain classes of things in the world. The concept involves the extraction of some ideas on the basis of similarity and differences among many sensations. Now what happened over here? When you were learning these animals in your childhood, in your pre-primary section, our brain automatically started making concepts of the animals. Okay, so what our brain smartly did is it understood that there is a group of animals, in that there are several animals. So there are four-legged animals, there are two-legged animals, right? Then what our brain did is it started classifying the animals on the basis of their similarity and their differences. Okay, so over here, even though all these animals have a four legs, right? So our brain knows, yeah, they are from the animal kingdom, then they all are four-legged animal, and then it again started differentiating on the basis of their differences and similarities. So even though horse have a similar characteristics like zebra and donkey, still they can our brain can easily say that it is a horse because of its appearance. Over here, similarly with the yak, it has almost similar characteristics like buffalo or like other bison, but we know that yak is a very furry animal, right? So because just because of the more fur over there, our brain could easily differentiate between a buffalo and a yak. Same way with the tiger and lion. We know that tiger, lion, and cheetah, these three animals belong to the cat family. But still, there are difference in it. Like tiger has the strips and it chases more to the prey, whereas lions don't chase more towards the prey. Or cheetah has the patches, black patches, and they are the fastest running animal in the world. Okay, so we know all this factual information, and because of that we could differentiate easily. So these are the concepts that our brain has developed throughout the years of learning, and with the experience it could easily imagine, it could easily make us differentiation among things. So this particular is known as the concept. So concept is an internal representation which the brain uses to denote the certain classes of things in the world. The concept involves extraction of some idea on the basis of similarity and difference among many sensations. So concept, we always had odd man out in our paper pattern for science, right? So in odd man out, how do we find that odd person or odd thing from the other similar things? So our brain has made the concept, and if that particular thing is not fitting in that particular concept, then we circle it as a odd odd thing or odd chemical or whatever it is. So it is a concept that is working over here. So till now we have seen two core elements, that is mental representation and concept. Next elements we will discuss in the next lecture. So till then, bye, take care. If you have any doubts, please feel free to ask me.